What is going on, everybody? If there's any gamers out there watching, they know what's going on behind me. That is the Call of Duty Modern Warfare multiplayer release trailer. Modern Warfare comes out October 25th with the betas being played right now. I haven't got a chance to play the beta yet because I play on PC, so looking forward to that coming up. But today, I'm going to merge my fabrication and my love for gaming together. I want to make the Modern Warfare MW logo out of steel that I found here in the shop. It's actually going to be out of this right here. This is an 1.5 by 3/4 square tubing. I have a few more sticks of this, and we're going to build the entire sign out of this, with the exception of these LEDs that I bought on Amazon. I'll link them down below. Haven't opened this yet. Don't know if they're any good. Reviews said they were good. Comes with a remote. We'll find out together. My idea behind this sign would be something for a streamer or someone who's really into Call of Duty to put this behind them while they stream on Twitch or wherever they like to stream. And if they're not a streamer, they can just put it up in their room. I think it's gonna hopefully turn out really cool. So let's get after it. All right, for this, I might not have taped this together perfect, but I know that these are gonna end up being straight when I actually weld them. I'm just kind of trying to get a general idea of what material, how much material to cut. Each letter should be right at about 3 inches because that's the width of both of those pieces of tubing when you stack them side by side. And I know that they are not square tubing. Like I said earlier, they're rectangle tubing. So this one's 9 5/16 on the long end, 6 3/4 on the short end. Obviously these are gonna be 2 separate pieces, but I'm gonna need 3 of these sections, and then I guess 4 of these. And that's really all the components for the main letters. This material is so rusty. I could take my grinder and clean up the whole stick all at one time. I think I'm just gonna do each individual piece when I'm done cutting. Okay, there are all of our very rusty, not cut very straight pieces of tubing. And speaking of the ends here, each one of these, especially where they end down here, is gonna have open ends. Now normally I would probably just take a piece of sheet metal and cap this off and smooth it out, but since I said I'm gonna use only this tubing, I'm gonna grab some scrap pieces and cut the side off of them, and that way we can weld it on here and cover that up. Okay, so I'm gonna end up actually using the top of this tube, the wide part, and overlay them just like this and trim to fit. Okay, so I'm running short on cutoff wheels, so we're gonna try and use the horizontal bandsaw that typically hasn't served me that well. The blade's pretty dull, it's super dirty. Historically, it's cut kind of crooked, but I don't have any other options right now because I don't want to run out of cutoff wheels. I'd have to run and get one if I could even find the kind I use because I usually order them. I'm going to start by cutting these all to the shape I believe they need to be as far as the angle goes to fit them all together, and then we'll clean them up. That way I'm not cleaning up material that I'm not going to be using. I'm going to need to decide how these are going to tie together. As far as I'm concerned, that turned out pretty good. It was only the first one, and maybe the trick is just cut super slow. Which, in reality, that's probably faster than me taking a cutoff wheel and going all the way around here, and it looks pretty straight. Kind of makes me wish I would have done this side that way. Now all I have to do is get the rest of them cut, and then I can start fitting them together. I know I'm wiping it off and then touching it with my bare hands. I don't really care. I still have a lot of work to do on these. I'm only gonna be tacking it and welding the ends up, and it's not a big deal. I'm not gonna get my welding gloves soaked in acetone, and acetone eats the rubber latex gloves. I don't really want to, but I think the best way to do it is going to be to cap off all the ends that are gonna be exposed before I weld any of this together. So I think I need to go ahead, cut these two center pieces, cut the slot that's right in the middle of the logo. Just get that done with, because if I weld this all up, all one piece, and then I try and cut it, that's gonna be a pain. Right now I can cut it in the drop saw when they're by themselves. We're gonna do that now. So what's going on here, if you've never seen this before, is I've pretty much extended the vise with these two blocks of aluminum. And since it actually, the bottom of this goes out past the bottom of the vise, I had to put a piece of 3/4 by 3/4 tubing to extend the base out. And then this piece is another piece the same size as this, because if you try and clamp these down with this extended out, especially when we try and cut this, they're just gonna open up. So you need this back there for leverage on the backside. All right, now that we have all of our end caps welded up, the only thing we have left to do before we can start putting this thing together is clean up all these welds. And pretty much we're gonna turn what looks like this into this. All right, now we can finally start welding this thing together. My gap here looks a little smaller than I would like, so compared to that, so I'll probably have to shave off on these pieces, but other than that, we're looking pretty good. I'm gonna get a straight edge down here, make sure all of these are lined up, probably double check that, but more so just gonna get one side lined up, start tacking this together. Okay, so this is what we got so far. I'm going to flip these over again. This is the top. And, yep, touching it bare hands. And I need to cut a channel that's gonna run down the center of here in the same shape. So it's pretty much gonna be another MW right down the center. And it's gonna cross here, and it's gonna be open on one side, and that's what we're gonna run our LEDs in, and it's gonna hold the two pieces together. So I'm gonna find a longer piece of this, cut the back off of it, and then that'll run all around it. Okay, I've got everything deburred, and now it's just time to put it together. I think I'm just gonna start tacking these down to the piece, not so much worry about getting them together and then laying them on here. There's no real point in that. The whole point of this track is to lay the LEDs down in here. And then that way when you look at it from the side on the wall, you don't see the actual bulb, the actual LED. You know, I just want the light to emit out behind it. I don't know, maybe I will leave it shiny. That looks pretty sick. Okay, now I need to put my hanging brackets on the back. Now I don't know, that might make it too hard to weld. I want to do my front surface with the welds pretty much last, so that way I don't have to lay it face down and get it scratched up again. So, but if I put those brackets on the back, I feel like it's gonna be too wobbly. So maybe I'll just have to do the front, go back and do the back, take it easy. All right, so here's the plan. I'm going to go over the entire front of this with this, and then I'm gonna go back over it with this, and then I'm gonna hit the whole thing with this. And that's hopefully gonna darken it up. Then I'm gonna have to clean up the little spots where I'm gonna weld, and I'm gonna use stainless filler rod. I've been using ER70 up until this point, just mild steel rod. Hit that with a stainless weld in these seams, and our front should be finished. Okay, I have let the piece cool off. I think we are looking pretty good. You know, I liked it before, but I like this too. So now I gotta clean inside these seams, get the oxidation, or whatever you call it, out of there so we can get a nice clean weld, but I don't wanna mess up too much of this color, you know, past what the weld is gonna take up, or the heat from the weld, because that'll fill in some of it. So we're gonna clean some of this up with this wire wheel to get down in the groove, and then I'll probably hit it with the Scotch-Brite maybe, just to smooth it out so we don't have these wire marks. We'll see. All right, here goes nothing. These flat butt welds, like especially like this one, are my least favorite weld. And it's the one that matters the most on here. Okay, you guys could probably see there, I was constantly burning away this side just because this material is so thin. And I know I probably could have done a smaller bead and kept that from happening, but I like the look of this. And you know, this was so thin I could cut it with tin snips. So I think what I'm gonna do is weld all these up like this, just a nice quick pass, clean it up a little bit, and then run back over it with a finish weld, because I need the front of this to look perfect. So that's what I'm gonna do. If you're ever an idiot like me and bury your tungsten down into the weld, there's only one thing you can do. You really gotta cut it out. Okay, I think we're good. Only thing left is to put some hangers on the back and some standoffs to hold it off the wall a little bit. Then we'll take it over to the wood table so we can lay it face down and get our LEDs installed. So I have this piece of scrap here from, it's one side of the tubing when we made one of these channels. And I need to put a little bridge here because the control box for the LEDs needs to sit somewhere. And I kind of don't want light to shine where this gap is against the wall. I want there to be like a gap of light. And also adding something right here will help strengthen this area up. So threefold on why we need to put a piece in here. So I'm just gonna trim off these little rolled edges and then hopefully we can drop this down in there just a little bit and make a little shelf for the control box. See, I wasn't lying when I told you this stuff was pretty thin. Trimming off the little edges made it a little narrow, but I think it'll be fine. All right, our little shelf is in. A couple people have told me that the biggest problem with these LED light strips is the adhesive doesn't stay. So to fix that, I don't even know if I'm gonna use the adhesive. Maybe I'll stick it in a couple spots, but the main thing I'm gonna do is take this welding rod and make little bridges across the top of my channel. That way I can tuck the LEDs behind it and I don't have to worry about it ever falling off. I know this whole video is made from one type of rectangle tubing, but I am using filler rod to make the welds, so I'm counting this as still within parameters. All right. Okay, the last thing manufacturing wise to do to this is to install the LEDs. But first we're gonna coat it with shark hide metal protectant. Shark hide sent me these aerosol cans, which was nice of them. And I did it on the Hypercube was the first time I used it because it was really easy to get into the crevices, and we're gonna use it again on here. So I'm just gonna hang it up, spray it down with some shark hide, let it dry, and then we'll get to installing the LEDs. Okay, I think we're dry. Wearing gloves anyway though. Now it's time to put on the LEDs. Need to clean off our plate here. Nice thing about shark hide is just a little bit of lacquer thinner will take it right off. The tape might have stuck if I wouldn't have done this, but just in case. Now for our lights. Got these on Amazon. I'll put a link to them down below. And this is that little control box I was talking about that we're gonna put right here. Probably just like that. The power hookup is on the back. Manuals, the remote, and the power plug. I'm sure a set of lights that didn't have to plug in and ran off a battery would look cleaner, but then you have to be worried about switching the batteries out all the time, and I just wouldn't want to deal with that. And here's our lights. They actually give you some little pieces of 3M double-sided tape. So I believe right here, this plugs into this. So we're gonna need to come out of here. The best I think would be to go this way, loop back around, go underneath, loop back around, and then finish up, probably finish up right here. I'm just gonna unroll them all. I can always roll it back up if I have extra, right? And there it is, ladies and gentlemen, the Modern Warfare custom sign. And now, maybe the moment you've all been waiting for? I know I have. The light shines off the back nicely, and you can't see any LEDs from the side if you were walking by this. Comes with this nice remote. It's gonna let us change colors. Or you can cycle them and really drive yourself crazy. That was my favorite. I'm really happy with how this sign turned out. It took me way longer than I thought it was going to, but the end result I'm really, really happy with. I think it'd be a great addition to anyone's gaming room. I'd love it to have it in my gaming room. And if you're new to my channel, I hope you stick around and subscribe. I'll be doing a lot more projects like this. Hit the bell and you'll receive a notification every time a new video comes out. Other than that, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.